Well, it's my turn to pick the movie we watched today. I'm thinking a John Hughes classic.
Oh, like Breakfast Club, or one of those movies that's like The Breakfast Club?
Yeah, you know. Alright guys, here we're going to talk about the movie 101 Dalmatians. 1996's 101 Dalmatians. Lee, had you seen it before?
I don't know if I did. I might have.
I definitely saw this before.
I probably did, but I just didn't like remember it or something.
There were definitely things that I was like, wait a minute, I don't remember this shit at all. And I'll go into those in spoilers in greater detail. This is, one of the first live-action from cartoon, Disney movies.
That's where the dark path began for remaking things, right?
I think it literally began with Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 100 versions of that,
Yeah.
No, I remember Glenn Close like in this role, or people saying good things about it or something. But same as you, when I actually watched the movie, things would happen, and I'd be like, I don't know if I've seen it before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, she's a good Cruella DeVil.
No, totally.
Jeff Daniels, I always love him. I was like today years old when I realized DeVil is devil.
Oh yes, God. Yes.
Never picked that up, and I was like, what? Oh shit.
Oh my god, yes. And it's even spelled the same, which is really weird.
Genius.
Hugh Laurie's in it too, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing his potentially he's closer to his real accent. I'm like, yes, awesome.
Yeah, he's been in a couple kids movies. He was in this, he's in the Stuart Little, I believe.
Oh. Yeah,
Not always House.
He's a nice chimney sweepy type guy in this one. Yeah. It fits. I like it.
I like it. No, it's fine for a children's movie. I'd say it's worth a revisit. I don't think if you have no memories going into this at all or care about blah blah, it's not something I would say go out of your way to watch.
I would say don't watch it.
Yeah.
Unless you or your children enjoy like a talking animal movie, except the animals don't talk.
That is the.
If you dig that, if you're like, listen, the Nature Channel is too boring, I need Hugh Laurie in there doing something, then I'd be like, you need to watch this movie immediately.
The parts of the people are charming and good.
Yes.
But they're not the main focus of the movie.
There's another thing that takes center stage.
Yeah. All right, guys, so if you've seen it or don't care, falls over to spoilers, and if not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, so here we are for the spoilers of 101 Dalmatians. So, Lee, let me hear them spoiler-filled thoughts.
I did not like this movie.
No?
I was loving it for a while until, like, the animal part.
Yeah,
and like
the silent animal part where they're like... There's a part where one's doing charades, and I'm like, wait, can they talk or not? To themselves.
I don't want to harp on that like that's a deal breaker, because there have been plenty of movies where the animals, like they nuzzle up and then they both look in the same direction, they look and then they go, and you're like, oh, the animals live in their own world where they can talk to it. And like, I love that cliche scene where like the one dog's barking, like Lady and the Tramp does that, like all the hundreds of movies where one dog's barking and then like a rabbit's like, oh, and passes the message along, and they keep going, and then like frogs at the pet store are like telling the snakes, and then someone buys a snake and he yells at a bulldog and goes, and he runs down. Oh, I love it so much. And they do that here, but it's like 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
I wanted to die. I'm
Just
like,
a lot
what's
of
happening?
barking and bullshit.
Yes.
Agreed. What isn't directly related to the animals in this is charming and fun.
Yeah.
I thought we liked stripes this year.
What kind of sycophant are you?
What kind of sycophant would you like me to be?
There's a lot of things that, like, I would have totally lost my shit for as a kid. Like, there's a part where Hugh Laurie and Associate get their nuts tasered by, like, an electric fence.
When I count to 3, we jump. Ready?
Yes.
1.
And as a kid, that would have had me rolling.
Okay.
As an adult, you see it coming, and it's not like as funny.
I didn't know what you mean by lose your shit, so yes, good, yes.
Oh yeah, that would have been hysterical.
As a kid, that's the best thing ever.
Like, there are a couple of slapsticky bits that are still funny, like him getting led by the dog down the hill into the back of that, what do you call that? Not a chair, a bench, and then getting launched into the water.
Yeah.
His is pretty funny. Hers is kind of sad. But then they kind of save it with their little back and forth dialogue about
like their chemistry
and whatever.
And their dialogue was so good that I was like, this is amazing. And then like how like we just like play the whole scene, I guess, but there's the part where he's like, would you like another cup of marriage? I mean tea. And she's like, I do. And I'm like, who wrote this script? Give this man the Oscar.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want another cup of tea?
I do.
This is amazing.
I laughed out
This is so
loud
good.
though, like in a good way.
Yes.
Where like I thought that was so funny because these people met 1 minute ago. They're
Yes.
so desperate for any human
It's so
interaction
amazing.
that they will
Yes.
instantly get married to the first idiot that
and-
pulls them out of the water.
And we can read that like a few different ways. It shows like some stuff like they're drying their clothes because they've both fallen into
Yep.
the lake at this point, river or whatever, and like catches on fire to symbolize their brutal lovemaking.
Hey.
That's going to take place. In my notes, I joked before this happened. I'm like, they end up back at his place. I guess they're gonna smash, and they do. I
Yeah.
was like, what's happening? But I think this is also brilliant because like they could have just used montage and played a song and then showed the dogs falling in love and them falling in love and he's pushing her on a swing and she falls into something else, like some weird like, oh, they're both these klutzy maniacs. It's great, but that would have been weird because then it's like, wait, like how long has Cruella been like following the saga of their dogs? You would think that she would have found new dogs by then, which she almost did. So it has to happen like 3 days later. So they just have them fall in love instantly, and it makes so much more sense for the script and is so bonkers. But they just go, we're doing it. They like cut, like the camera moves down from from like don't show them having sex, and then comes back up on like, and do you take this woman?
Yeah.
And it's like the marriage.
Instantaneous.
It's amazing. I'm like, but that's good. But it was good. I'm like,
But
I
like so,
this.
my first I think experience with the whole world of 101 Dalmatians was like a storybook that was like when you're young and pages are like thick hard cardboard and there's like 10 pages. So when it goes to like they meet to they're married in the book, you're
makes
like,
sense.
of course,
Yeah.
there's 7
Yeah,
pages, duh. And then when it happens in the movie, you're like,
What?
I guess they're following that script to the goddamn letter.
It's the most amazing romantic comedy interpretation like I've ever seen in my life.
It's pretty wonderful.
It's great. But you hint at like the whole world. So yeah, I feel like this and something we'll talk about later. Like if you had seen, because I don't even know if I watched the animated one. Like
I definitely saw it.
I had this like I probably watched it, but like wiped it because like I as a kid again I only cared about like robots, magic, dragons, like interesting things. And by the end of this I would have been like, the dogs don't even go to hell. Nothing interesting happens. There's no owl with glowing eyes.
Why, yes.
These animals suck, and like I would have forgotten about that movie, I think. So I was not prepared coming into this for any of that. Like, oh, this must happen, that must happen. Like we have to hit these beats.
Sure.
I just knew like she wants to make the coat, and there's all these puppies. That's all.
What threw me was I was like, I'm watching 101 Dalmatians. 15. The fuck?
15! We have 15 puppies!
Really? Oh,
I didn't remember that part at all because I think in the cartoon I think she had 101
Did she?
fucking puppies. I thought.
15 puppies? Why, Pungo Boy, that's marvelous. It's fabulous. Why, you old rascal.
I could be
Perfect.
totally wrong. Maybe I'm totally full of shit. I don't
okay.
remember at all. But that I was like, oh, I'm like, well, it makes sense. You couldn't have 101 puppies.
That's what
like,
okay.
how would she give birth to that many puppies?
That's the thing that I was hinting at talking about later. We're gonna do it right now.
Right now.
Yes, when they're like 8, 10, and like in my head I'm like, that's still like a normal amount of puppies. I think. Like, what are we talking about? And I'm doing this one. Oh yeah, I can't wait. Get
So
up
I'm
to
waiting
those
for like
big numbers.
round
Yeah,
2.
I'm-
We lost one.
I ex-
No, we have 15. 39.
Yeah, I expect them to keep coming out and for it to be a comedy where he's like, oh my god, there's so many puppies.
Yeah.
More? And there's like puppies in like the kitchen cabinets and the drawers. He's got a puppy in each pocket. We have too many puppies. And like for all that to happen. But no, there's a scant 17 puppies for like 90% of this movie.
Yeah.
Well, like 15 puppies, 17 Dalmatians.
Yes.
What would you do with 15 puppies?
Yeah, but that's irrelevant, Anita. She can't have any because they're not for sale.
I'm getting very tired of you, Roland.
Roger.
Whatever.
But 17 out of 101, I'm like, I've been ripped off. This movie sucks. 0 out of 10. Where are my Dalmatians?
No, definitely a little weird. And like I think part of me like chopped in that episode of The Simpsons. It's like spoofing like 101 Dalmatians.
Right.
Because I remember that the same thing. I was like, yep, we're putting him in this. And well, he's in an oven mitt. In a magnet, he's sliding down the fridge, like type of a thing. But yeah, it's just your brain jumbling all this shit together. And I can't remember enough from the original cartoon to know how closely were they aping that.
I thought I was making all that up.
No, those are real things.
That's a real thing, right? Okay,
Yeah.
amazing. Yes, okay. they're floating on like things down the thing, and like on dishes in the sink. They're just floating. Oh no, there's puppies everywhere.
Where are you?
I think Glenn Close was a great bad guy.
If we make this coat, it would be as if I were wearing your dog. Woof woof.
Yes.
Where like her snide, like just insults as she's cutting down Jeff Daniels
God,
at every
yes.
turn
Amazing.
are fantastic.
And it's a pleasure, Miss DeVil.
What's a pleasure?
Making your acquaintance.
Such a sweet thought. I wish I could reciprocate.
But her like wealth seems like weird. Where like she's willing to interrupt the clothing line she's currently making, which will cost them millions.
What would it cost us to start again on next year's line?
Millions?
Can we afford it?
Well, yes.
Thank you, darling. Now go away. I have to talk to Anita.
But she can't just like go buy fucking Dalmatians
She's a crazy
somewhere.
person.
That's
she,
what's
she
weird.
wants to be wearing the murder. She wants to know about it.
But yes, she could murder the puppies or whatever, but like, why do you need their puppies? And 7,500 pounds, like 1,500 American or whatever.
500 pounds. 7,500 pounds. Fair?
Is not a crazy number to be like, I get whatever I want. Like, I think purebred Dalmatians, which I believe these might be because they're both from Dalmatians, are expensive dogs.
Do you think like the number comes from like the original like book or something from 100
Maybe.
years ago or whatever? I don't know. But she says like 500, 7,500. You're like, I'll write this check right now. No, she wants what she can't have. That's what she wants. And since the puppies are not for sale,
should have had them all killed.
She's freaking out. Like Jeff Daniels and exactly.
I love the nanny lady, and I was like, what are you? Are you a dog nanny? Is that your job?
What is it, nanny?
I think you're going to have a puppy.
And she's like, oh, you can smell it on her. She's pregnant.
Yeah.
She's got that look that everyone has. Oh, it's amazing. That old-timey wisdom that you get from having a British nana.
It's unmistakable, dear.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Is that her mother, or is that just a random nana?
I wasn't paying close enough attention.
I have no idea.
Because I was like, oh, you're fucking nanny. The fuck is this? I'm like, this guy barely had a job a minute ago. Like, he's a game developer. She is a like, you know, she designs clothing seemingly just for Cruella DeVil. It's like her drawing like is in the fucking thing.
Yes,
and she's like, oh yes, I could wear this.
Fashion in movies is just you do the drawings of the dress, and that's what she does. She's in a room with like 10 people who just draws the dress.
Hey, do what you do.
That's
only black and white because that's all Cruella wears, and I'm like, okay, that's cool.
She wears some red at one point. I was pissed off.
Yeah. They get stolen by a fucking raccoon, and he's like dancing around with it.
Give me the hat, or you become a hat.
There's like the only
reason I noticed.
clear puppets in the movie were those raccoons.
Were those gross raccoons.
And I'm sure other things had to be fake at certain times, but those ones were like standoutish. Were like yes.
Yeah, like a puppy with its eyes closed where the tail just wags.
Yeah,
is easy to fake or whatever, but yes.
Who's to say?
Hilarious.
But yeah, a raccoon that's like, you know, dancing around, doing things, even when they're in the car and shit, I'm like, okay, those are fake. A number of people seem to address concern with raccoons not native to England. I don't understand why they're doing that.
Oh my God, the trash pandas. Okay.
Yeah.
They needed like a rascal animal, like a.
I guess they don't have one there. Rats, I guess, would be theirs.
There's something, please, come on.
Squirrels, maybe? I don't even know if they have those.
They are an island.
Weird fucking place.
We gotta bring at least 3 raccoons to England.
I'm sure a couple are there.
They're there now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have to be.
Everyone should be able to enjoy raccoons. But that's the part of the movie. That's where it becomes like Home Alone, but for dogs. Yeah. It's a weird, and like other animals,
dog,
right? Obviously.
Like a Clydesdale horse. Yes. Prominent, like some really
Pig,
like pretty
rabbits.
cows. I'm like, what the hell kind of cows are those?
Yeah.
Are they wearing makeup?
Are you hot for the cows?
They had like weird fucking. I'm like, what is this? Because like this is like a farm where like the animals should all look kind of like that pig, like workhorsey looking things. Like, and the Clydesdale even. Like, I'm like, oh, it's properly combed for this like shit carriage version of a fucking farm.
Yeah, it was a weird, like, headless horseman looking, like, farmhouse ranch.
Why is there a big fucking vat of molasses? Yeah. Is that a thing that any farm has?
Do they make animals into that? No, that's just sugar, right? I don't know. But the molasses...
They make animals into sugar?
No, I was just talking it out in my head. Like,
what?
Do they use an animal product there where that should be on the farm? Would you make something with it on the farm? I don't know. But but that was terrifying to me for two reasons. One, when she comes back up, she has a huge realistic bubble of,
she's dying.
of like trying to breathe because she's dying, and that I think is a stunt lady. But Glenn,
for sure,
but Glenn Close also does a whole bunch of other things where she's really covered in shit. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
Part two was that all the animals were like laughing and watching, like got her, and then when she got back up, they all ran away, and I'm like, they thought that they killed her. They were like, we got her. She's not a problem anymore.
The witch
She's
is dead.
Yeah.
Exactly. Old witch. The Wicked Witch.
They thought that she was
dead. They did
dead.
not kill her, no.
Yeah, which is very dark.
Yeah.
She,
well, this movie's dark. 3 minutes in, we've already publicly murdered a Siberian tiger.
Security staff at London Zoo discovered the excoriated carcass of its prized 3-year-old female Siberian tiger.
Like a potential endangered species, they say killed and skinned. And you're like, wow. What? They found the cadaver? This is 3 minutes into a children's movie.
It's just spoken in dialogue, but
still,
yes. This seems weird to me.
It's an extreme thing to even be said.
This seems weird to me because the Dalmatian's watching it and starts barking.
Police sources have suggested that the killing was contracted by a private collector.
Oh, isn't that horrible? Don't do a thing like that.
For the owner, and she's drawing a dress, and turns around and goes, oh, poor thing, or something like that. And I'm like, are they like an animal detective agency? Is she like, we gotta go solve the case? Like, what's happening? Why? It felt weird, and then it was just nothing, and until you find out later. Whatever. Yeah.
I was almost, honestly, it's a little terrifying to see what Pongo does. He's like turning on the bathtub.
Oh God.
He's doing this. He's got like Pee-wee's Playhouse buttons and shit. Like he's Rimshot from fucking Ernest, opening up stuff, has little gadgets, things that are happening. I'm like, wait, what is this?
No, so Jeff Daniels is a computer programmer. So he has the Britain's first smart house or whatever, which is only set up so his dog can do everything. And watching the first few minutes, I was like, oh, if dogs would do this, I might even get a dog. That's amazing. He's like starting the coffee maker. He's waking him up. He's doing all this thing. Exactly. That's what I've been saying. They keep denying me.
We can cut off your hands.
No.
Hey, potato, break a few eggs.
But it was amazing. I was like, this dog's got. They have a system. It's great.
Yeah, it does seem like the dog's in charge.
Yeah.
And I was like, just the idea of like if you were to wake up and be like, the shower's, how long's the shower been on? What the fuck?
No, he trusts that dog with everything.
I guess.
He's his only friend. He talks to him. They bond over like bros before hoes, right? And the dog.
He has an actual
dog's like, no.
Great way of saying it, where he says something like,
"Fools aren't born, Pongo. Pretty ladies create them for fun." Something like that.
Yeah.
In their spare time. Yes.
Fools aren't born, Pongo. Pretty girls make them in their spare time.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's a witty little.
With his like one squishy foot and his like bicycle mishaps and stuff. Yeah.
His shit's fucked.
You've lost a shoe. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I did. I noticed it running down the graveled path.
Yeah, it's great. I had the same thought though. Wow, Pongo's going crazy just for a little strange.
You could have gotten me killed. You know that? You risk losing your master for a brief frolic with a female.
I was a little embarrassed because I was confused about the like in the park you've got Jeff Daniels and his dog. I think they say both of the dog's name, but
Pongo and Perdita.
Perdita. Okay, I only remembered Pongo. I thought I was sexist, but I just didn't hear the other names, even faker of a name.
They don't often say it fully too. They call her like
Purdy
or something.
Yeah, which I thought was a term of endearment. When they zoom out to reveal that Anita's there with her Dalmatian, right? I was like, wait, there's two? What's going on? I was so confused about that, that dog being like a different dog. Because at this point, you don't know if they're a couple. You don't know what the hell's going on. I had no idea what the hell was going on, and I thought, oh, that's so embarrassing. Don't even mention that. Never tell anyone you thought that. That's horrible. Like Purdy looks so different. She has like a bunch of spots on her face, and Pongo's face is almost totally white. They're like totally different dogs. He's like 30 or 20 pounds heavier in like dog size or whatever. That's crazy. Jeff Daniels makes the same mistake.
Your dog?
Yes, that is my dog. Will you let her go?
Excuse me.
With his own dog.
That's part of the script, though.
Yes.
And I'm sure he's a little concussed maybe at this point.
No, and I was going to say
he went
that,
airborne like a crazy bastard.
No, obviously he's had a brush with death, and we can excuse that. But I felt validated. Like, he also can't tell dogs apart. Great, perfect.
I love what do you have in that purse? A brick?
What do you got in that purse of yours? Rocks?
Oh no, bricks. I've been paving my garden, and every time I see a discarded brick, I just pick it up.
Yes, several.
3. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
No, their banter.
Bricks are great.
Their banter's top tier.
For sure.
Oh, I also didn't recognize Jeff Daniels at first.
Oh, no?
Well, I did. I said, oh, is that Jeff Daniels? But he doesn't talk. And they cut away. And everyone else is British. And I'm like, well, that's not Jeff Daniels. That's just some British guy who looks... I guess Jeff Daniels might be historically, like, European looking.
Is that David Coulier?
I guess that's fine. It's like, all right, whatever. And then it comes all the way back around. So like, the first 10 minutes of this movie, I had a lot of issues with, like, not recognizing things and not knowing people. But yes, he's great. Their banter's great. Acting-wise, delightful, top-tier scripting.
Oh, yeah. If it was more about them, honestly, this would be a much better film.
I would watch a romantic comedy about those two people falling in love.
Great chemistry.
Which is crazy for me, yes.
So there's a great supporting cast here.
The other major couple is Hugh Laurie.
Yes. Cruella DeVil has some henchmen.
Give me the bag.
I love them.
Yes, and they do have some great lines. They have some weird banter here. There's actually 3 of them, I guess. There's also a man who does not talk, who is the Skinner of animals.
And his name is Skinner.
Yeah.
And he's just like, they're like...
I assume it's his nickname.
Oh, is it, you think?
I assume.
I thought it was like more brilliant scripting for kids.
You think?
Where his name is Skinner. And they never really show exactly what he does on camera. And it's like kind of implied that he's skinning them, which is his whole purpose. I don't know. I like things like that. But yes.
For sure.
Yes.
But that guy's funny. I like his first appearance is like they're talking out to the door. He's got a big scar on his neck. Do not mention it. He ripped out his larynx or some shit like that. And the fucking second door opens.
Oh, look at the size of that scar. No bloody wonder you can't talk, mate.
It's like 2 things. Don't look at his scar and don't talk to him directly or whatever. And then he's just instantly, clocks the scar and he starts screaming into his face.
Fantastic.
No wonder you can't talk. Why? And he's like, okay, closes the door. He's like, fuck, I can't do this.
But like all their little things, there's a lot of just dumb slapsticky things, like the animal sabotaging his car and burning him. That was pretty good.
Too hot! Too hot!
That guy actually freezes at one point.
I can't stand the cold no more. I want heat!
He gets painted several different colors for comedy purposes.
They blackface him at one point.
Yeah. And he's like silvery at one point from being cold, like you're saying. Yeah, it's, I don't hate that stuff on its face or whatever.
I remember that being in the commercial.
Yeah.
So seeing it heavily.
Okay. Yeah. This is very Home Alone, though. It's very like Wet Bandits, Can't Catch a Break. He's frozen, which is part of the whole thing. He's like walking, like can't move. He's like literally frozen, which is all maybe the brilliant plan to make sure that they put the heat on later.
For sure.
Because now the car bursts into flames.
Yeah.
And sits there, and I'm like, okay. Yes, but that was the, that's like the setup, or that's all the payoff from earlier when the raccoons were messing with the car, and there was a rat like biting a wire, and they were doing different stuff to like sabotage.
In your head, you're like turning the heat couldn't possibly hurt anything. It's just taking heat from the engine that's already being produced, and then flames.
Just like a barbecue, like a propane.
Yeah.
Skinner gets the worst end of that though, because is that a terrier? Like what type of dog is that? The weird like can't see his eyes
what that
dog.
Fucking thing is.
I don't know the breeds of dogs, but whatever that dog's very prominently featured as like the ringleader of like the rescue operation.
Yeah.
And he just like everyone else has these elaborate traps and ruses and multiple stages of little things happening where you're like maybe you could survive one of those things, whatever. This guy just gets mauled by a dog, just gets attacked by a dog. That's it. It's like off camera screaming. Well, no, silently screaming because he doesn't have a voice.
Part of his the brilliance of that character is the silence thing. Like he gets called on the phone and he's tapping Morse code in return, and I was like, oh, okay, I love that.
I want the job done tonight. Can you do it? Any way you want.
I don't even know if as a kid I would have got what was happening.
You're just like, oh, the scalpels, like telling Cruella. No, and like Cruella being able to like instantly decipher the Morse code.
Well, they probably had a long-lasting relationship.
Exactly.
He was the guy that did her Siberian Tiger for her.
Yeah,
and like seeing that would probably have been disturbing as a kid. Like,
hello, my beauty. Oh, come with me, my darling.
Like, oh, that's the face.
She makes it talk. She does a mirror routine during one of her many little side things.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? You are.
And it's like, who's the fairest of them all? You are. She like makes the dead tiger. It's so creepy. It's amazing.
She gets hers though. Like we see a skunk's anus as it sprays her.
I've seen more intelligent pieces of carpet.
I thought that scene was some comedic gold that like you could easily miss. Is that guy that's not Hugh Laurie, guy that takes the fucking smokes to the face. The second he sees the skunk, he shoves both fingers into his nostrils. He's like, no!
Oh no! That's great.
And it's only on camera for like a second, but it's enough to like really make you laugh.
That's awesome. I missed that. There's a lot of things like that, though. I feel like there's little doodads.
Because everyone's doing their own like genius thing here, and you can easily get lost in the sauce.
One of the funniest things from earlier with them was when Hugh Laurie does his little. This is like a common joke format, but the guy's like, "Did you hear that?" And they go on this long thing. It's like, "Yeah, it sounds like some Burke, nonstop, yapping in my ear."
Oh yeah, it sounded just like a complete Burke asking me irritating questions.
Oh, good, it's stopped now.
Oh, it stopped, and then rolls over and tries to go back to sleep, and I'm like, this is good. Like the timing of it, I'm like, yeah.
Had he only listened, that would have saved them all this trouble.
I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the real thing.
There was probably no getting out anyway. The cops are already on their way, and they sent every cop in England.
This is like the biggest crime.
There are thousands of police just in line, just heading toward them. And then, like, when they're looking for the puppies, every cop, like, the motorcycle cop, the blah, blah, cop, everything. And you don't realize how well camouflaged a Dalmatian is until you see them, like, in the snow, in, like, a herd. You're like, oh, they are kind of, okay.
Wow, they must
Where are these things from?
They must look like that for a reason.
You'd think.
Yeah.
I don't know, but so many dogs like just don't exist out in the wild, so I'm like, I don't even know.
Whatever.
Okay, I give you a good proper warning.
Look, I've had...
One question I walk away with this movie is like, what actually brought that puppy back to life? Like, that's honestly what it seemed, because like he's like, what if? And then he just like rubbed it gently, and it came to life. I'm like,
battery's not included.
Did that nanny try anything? Like, I don't know.
No, so like Pongo's like doing a head motion, like do the thing, and I'm like, this is amazing. Pongo watched, Jeff Daniels perform CPR.
That's what I was thinking.
He's gonna do CPR to the dog, and then he just like nuzzles him a little, and it comes to life.
Yeah.
I'm like,
why she would even hand him the dead puppy?
Right?
I don't know.
We lost one.
We lost one. Here you are.
Throw this away, please.
Yeah.
I'm busy. Yes.
Very fucking weird.
Idea.
What do you think was their suspicion in general? Obviously, Cruella DeVil stole their puppies. That's fucking obvious. But like they called the cops saying like, we think she got the tiger. I would assume, because I don't think they would just go, and I don't think they would go, period, into a rich person's home and look for things, but they did go for some reason, and they did find that tiger.
Your suspicions were justified.
So like that got every police, in
I was gonna say,
island on them.
Did I miss something? Because you were joking before. I just took it like, it's a movie. Every constable from London to Glasgow has to mobilize to chase this puppy thief or
that's
something.
That's pretty much it, though.
Yeah, but it feels like they're taking, because isn't there a point where like it maybe cuts back, or like before we cut away from the owner people, they're like out there with the cop, and he's like, we'll do everything we can, and they're like, oh, and they're all like sad and weird.
Yeah.
It's as if their kid is missing.
Officers there will be on the lookout for your puppies and Miss DeVil. I only hope we're not too late.
Well, so like the moment Glenn Close gets caught is amazing, because they're like, you're under arrest, and she's like, is there a problem? And is like covered in actual shit.
We have a warrant for your arrest.
Oh. Is there something wrong?
And her entire journey, I thought she was like a real trooper, because a lot of it could be a stunt double, who cares? But then it always cuts back to actual Glenn Close covered in shit.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that she would go through all that and do all that.
Sure.
Even the costumes in general, she looks ridiculous, but she chews the scenery, she owns it. It's a icon, yes queen, etc., etc.
Yeah, and they said she leaned into this and made that character darker than it was supposed to be. Like on original script, it was like, I guess much toned down, and she's like, nah, the original cartoon, this is a fucking angry bitch. I think we got to go a little hard.
I think it makes it. I think without
really
there'd be nothing there. It would just be wow.
Yeah.
You need her to be like so extra. I have no use for babies.
All I've no use for babies.
Cheerio! Cheerio, darling!
Going crazy, like she's so over the top. It's great.
Yeah, Jeff just eats that shit. He's like, I guess I'll just go back to making video games.
It's Roger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole plot about like, is this just a tie-in with an actual video game? Is that a real game?
I don't think that's an actual game. I think that's like the animation from the first movie.
Oh, geez.
Maybe
Really?
Maybe not literally.
The minecart thing?
Maybe not literally, but
Yeah.
that looked more cartoony than it did. Like any video games.
It reminded me of like a shitty video game that would be like the Lion King game, where it's just like it's like a drawing of like Simba and he moves like this. It's like a dumb.
In '96,
thing
it wouldn't look that good.
No.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like done up more. It was obviously animation. I don't mean like was that footage from the real game. I mean like are these like cinematics from like a thing? Were they hyping a game at this time and trying to make it?
Well,
look
they were
better than it
hyping
was?
an incredible. They
Like-
sold so much merch around this. The biggest thing that runs to mind for me was McDonald's. Every time a 101 Dalmatian thing came out,
One toy in each Happy Meal you buy. Look! Each one's a surprise. 101 in all. You can collect and trade as many as you want before she does.
there was like 101 fucking toys at Christmas time. Like,
oh my god!
It's like, oh, collect them all, buy all the Happy Meals, get diabetes, we got you.
How many thousands of Happy Meals do you have to buy to get 101 toys? That's crazy.
But they sold so much of it. They said John Hughes made more money off of this movie than any of his other ones, I think, combined. Because he got a chunk of the merchandising.
That's crazy.
And because it's a Disney movie and they're still selling merchandise.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's a big deal. That's
sure is.
That's a big payday for him.
Most
That's cool.
assuredly.
And for everybody. Disney, I guess. Yeah.
I like when he's like showing the game to the dog, and he's like anxiously awaiting the dog's reaction to the game.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, get a fucking life.
No,
it's all little children and dogs. That's all that reviews your game.
Yeah, him and that dog. The hotshot game expert kid is amazing.
Since he was 6, he's picked the top-selling game every year.
His like, nice villain, mate, and that's such a weird line that Anita like is like, nice villain, mate. You got a lot of that kid.
Excellent villain, mate.
Thanks, Herbert.
Excellent villain, mate.
Like, yeah, so weird. This is so weird.
A little weird that he actually puts Cruella DeVil in the game, and like even like her license plate pops up with the DeVil, like when it crashes the car or the dynamite or whatever.
He does not have oh god, what do they call it? Licensing for the person? I don't know.
Maybe he does. She's not as rich as she appears. Because why is her mansion so fucking decrepit? And I know it's not her. She has a secondary mansion. That's her house in the hills or whatever they say. She's in her estate in the blah blah blah. But still, that place is a piece of shit.
That's just for murdering animals for her coats, though.
Presumably.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's like her crack house where you would have like a drug deal, but it's a mansion in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yes.
All right. I love her car. That thing's badass. I don't know what that is, but I like it. I like any movie that has a titular line. I like when the cop actually says,
"We made it to the end."
101.
Make that 101 Dalmatians, sir.
Makes that 100 Dalmatians, and then it's like da na 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 na, and the one last one comes in. Scratch that, 101, and then cheering and love and all that stuff.
Ruff. Oh, my dog.
And so this is how we end up with 101 Dalmatians.
Yes.
Cruella has been also systematically kidnapping. There's like a ledger at one point where it's like, we got 7 from this, we got 15 here, we got 8 from... It's all these little itemized things, and he's like, no, carry the 2, 101. And he writes it on the bottom.
No, 99, and we know there's 2 adults.
I'm sorry, yes, he writes the total on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yes. But then the police are, Jeff Daniels or like the wife says, how can we ever repay you? And the cop's like, yeah, actually...
Nobody has called to claim the other puppies. They need a home.
We need someone to take care of all these dogs. We've contacted every owner from the ledger earlier. We've contacted the other, they don't have that ledger. No one's claimed the dogs. We haven't found any of these 10 different people who had the same crime as you, and we mobilized the entire nation to try to find your puppies. So now these are all just yours. And it ends with them...
in a mansion that is painted with spots.
So the ending reminds me of Very Bad Things.
Okay.
Because it pulls off, it goes up into the sky, just watching this like chaos, this like tortured, like Faustian existence of this terrible. They've ended up. There's dogs running everywhere, and it just keeps going out. And there's more dogs and more dogs.
That's their whole life.
And the voiceover is like, and their children have children, and their children have. I'm like, oh, it never stops. There's thousands of dogs. There's nothing but dogs.
And they have their children.
And their stepchildren.
And they have their children.
And they're all incestuous relationships.
Well, no, but
from
now
each
it's
other.
not because there are so many different clutches of dogs.
I'm like hoping that they're keeping the bloodlines separate, but I doubt that.
Oh, the dogs have their own communication.
It's just dogs
they know.
Doing stuff. They don't have houses like in Game of
You
Thrones.
can't be putting these adults in charge of that. They couldn't even sex the puppies.
Jewel.
Jewel is clearly a boy. The only one with a pink collar has a penis. It's the only penis I saw in the whole movie.
Do you see the penis?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't notice any penises. And I'm looking.
I'll point them out for you.
That was a weird scene too, when they're fishing the collars out and they're naming them and everything.
Yeah. Well, they had to have named them ahead of time.
They did, but it didn't feel like they did.
They didn't name even. We didn't even hear the name of all 15.
It wouldn't even I understand not giving us 101 names, even though I'm sure they exist somewhere. Like Dasher and Donner and Blitzen, right? There's no song that has 101 names or like 99 names. But yeah, they didn't even get through their first 15. What a ripoff.
We got the good ones. I don't even know if we did.
And lucky. He's lucky he defied death. He spat in God's eye and lived on. Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of what luck is.
Immortal necromantic monster.
At the end of the day, I really can't say, like, go fucking see this movie because there's like 50 minutes of it that I'm like, this is kind of slow and boring.
Exactly.
But if you just chop the dog shit right out and just, and it's just them like if the dogs were not these like humanesque like colony of talking animals. Yes. And it was just the story of how these thugs are taking the dogs. Oh, they lost the dogs. Oh, we're trying to find the dogs. Like all that stuff is good. Like really good actually for a kids movie.
Big time, big time. This was not well received. It has a 40-40 on Rotten Tomatoes ish.
That kind of makes sense. Because 40% of it's good.
Just for context, the original animated one has a 98 critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, I think
because it's a masterpiece.
Don't the dogs talk in that one?
I have no idea.
Thank you, Sergeant, Colonel, Captain.
Bless you all.
How can we ever repay you for what you've done?
Oh, nothing at all. All in the line of duty.
I think they talk.
Making dogs talk always makes it better.
I remember like a Scottish accent on one of the dogs, I think.
Isn't that Lady and the Tramp?
Well, there's also...
Oh, you mean...
There are other dogs.
I thought there's only one Scottish dog ever. No, but you're right. Like, yes, the characters, the actors' performances are charming and good. They're better than they need to be. But I don't know if that's a product of them saying, "Don't worry, half this movie you're not even in it. Don't worry."
Yeah.
And you're like, "What?" Yes. Which is a huge, and like that's the funniest thing. I think that's the capstone. Is like, hey man, if they had cut all this dog shit out of this movie, it would have been great. 101 Dalmatians. That's like for the box. Like, ignore the part with the dogs. It's great. But it's true.
Well, that's the part where you can go make dinner. The kids keep watching it because they're like, dogs are doing shit. This is fucking amazing. And you can walk away because you know that part's not going to be good. You've seen the good part. You know, come back with the mac and cheese and then the chicken tendies.
But that's honestly perfect because that's true. Like that's true. Like kids would be more engaged because they'd be like looking at the animals, like trying to figure out what they're saying to each other.
Yeah.
Whereas as an adult, you're just like, all right, they're looking for the I don't know, but
where's the remote?
Like you've already devoted how much of your attention you can by that hour mark, right, for the second half of the movie to start with this stuff.
Exactly.
Right?
It's the trade-off. While the kid might not care as much about the a couple marriage, and you're giggling, and then you don't give a shit about this dog going down a pipe.
Yeah.
There you go, kid.
You can time out at that point. You can tap out. You can swap positions. Yeah.
Thus, the 40%. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Excuse me just a minute, would you?
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinions you can really trust.